What's up everyone, my name is Derek Vanderlinder, and in this video, you're gonna learn how to mark up support and resistance like a champ. Now, this may frighten you because you don't even know really what the heck support and resistance is, but the good thing is after this video you are definitely going to know what support and resistance is. So let's get started here. Let's bring that energy, let's have fun, and let's learn some shit. All right, so I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm super stoked. It's Friday. We had a great week in the market, so many good moves. We had volatility. I love seeing that. I'm in a great mood. It was a great week. So, like I said, in this video, you're going to learn how to mark up support and resistance. You're going to learn what support and resistance truly is and how to identify support and resistance the proper way. So let's get to learning on this stuff right here. Now, what is support and resistance? I know you've learned a little bit about it in the previous videos, but we're going to really get into depth in this video about how to truly mark up support and resistance. So, in the Forex market, technical analysis, support and resistance are certain predetermined levels of price of a currency pair which it is thought that the price will tend to stop and reverse. So what support and resistance truly is if you look left in the market, which means if you look in the past, you'll see areas of importance in certain levels where the market rejected off of. Now, these are areas of importance, and you'll see these areas play out over and over again in the market. So in this video, what we're going to be doing is teaching you how to identify these areas that are important. So a support level is a level where price tends to find support as it falls. So what that means is as the market's falling, we have this area that is having a hard time breaking below. So the market will end up, pretend this is the support area, market will go down and it will bounce pretty close to directly off of that support area. Now, this means that when price comes to that support area, and that's why we have these areas marked up, is because it means that price will potentially bounce off that area, which is important. We want to know that. Now, once price has actually breached this level and broken past that level, by amount exceeding some noise, it is likely going to continue to fall. If it breaks that support or if it breaks that resistance, it's likely going to continue to rise. A resistance is just the opposite of support, as you guys know. A resistance level is the opposite of support. So it is where price tends to find a resistance as it rises. So I think of resistance as the ceiling. So when we have this area that's, you can pretend that it's blocked off by potential sellers. So it gets to this important area up here, and what happens is if you look left, and this is the psychology of the market, okay? So when you look left, you can see that price rejected this area a ton. Now, we have all these traders, we have institutional traders looking at this area just as we are. So the potential of this area to give us an idea of what's going to happen in the market is a good potential. So we'll be able to figure out if price comes up to that area and it decides to keep trying to break that area and finally breaks it, that means it's going to potentially go to the next area of importance, and it usually does. Now, the market can trick you and it can break an area and come back, but more likely than not, if it breaks a major resistance or support area, it's going to continue in that direction. So it's important to know. So right in here, we have areas of support. Now, again, like I was saying, support I think of as the floor. So if you can look here, I drew this yellow or orange line right here, and you can see price rejected this orange line 6 times in this instance right here. We got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, 6 touches all throughout here before price eventually rose off this level and broke it. Now, if you look at area number 4 here, you can see that the market eventually broke this support level. Now, what did it do? It came back to that, or it went to the next area of support and then reversed. And when it did that, it broke through this area right here and came back and created another area of support. So it just continued this area of support right here, this area of significance that other traders and institutional traders, meaning people that are trading hedge funds and whatnot, they can all see this exact same thing, okay? Now, what gives us an edge in the market between all these other traders is that we have the 3 specific patterns that we trade on these specific areas. So if those patterns happen at a specific area with our patterns, like I was saying, it's a better chance than just using plain technical analysis, plain support and resistance to determine if the market's gonna reverse or not. So that going forward, I'm marking off areas of support. As you can see, we want to get as many touches on an area of support as we possibly can. And we're going to go to TradingView after this section of the video is done, and I'm going to mark up areas of support exactly like I do on my day-to-day basis when I'm in the market. But going forward, we have now broken this specific support zone right here. It comes down, and now we can judge based off of area 1 right here that this is an area of importance because obviously people were buying at this level right here. Again, this level, number 1, people were buying at this level. Now, when it came back, broke this area of support, it obviously went to this level right here, the next area of support, and rejected that area. Now, it did that 6 times and stayed in this range right here. Very important to take note in that before it started to progress its way down to the next area of support, which we have right here. So we have 1 touch right here, comes down. Throughout this area, we have 4 touches of significance in this area. So that's just important to understand. When we break that next area of support, we're gonna have to identify the area of support that is under that previous area, okay? So that's very important if the trade breaks through the support. So that is support. Now we're going to go forward and go to resistance. Now when I'm talking about resistance, I'm talking about the ceiling. So support is the floor, the resistance is the ceiling. So as you can see here, this is an area of resistance. We have 5 touches throughout this whole area before it finally rejects and continues down to a support level. So we have a support level in here. And what this was trying to do was trying to break this area of support, which it finally did right in here. Now, when it broke this area of support, what it did is turn the support into a resistance right in here. As you can see, the 1 now turned into an area of resistance. So we have this level of support. We finally broke this level of support and made a retracement back up, creating a support turning into resistance, which is number 1. Now, as you can see, the market came up to this level around 6 times. And if I were to draw an area of resistance, like a area in between here, you could see that the market rejected this area. Now, when I'm drawing my support and resistance, my goal is to get as many touches on my horizontal line as I possibly can. Like I said, after this section is done, I'm going to take you to TradingView so that you can learn exactly how I mark up support and resistance in our strategy, okay? Going forward, after this area of resistance could not be broken. So what that means is this area eventually could not be broken, so we did not continue to rise. We started to fall. Now, when we're in this situation, we're waiting for the next area of support to break. So once that area breaks, we'll find our next area of resistance, like in here. So we have a support area in here. Market finally breaks this area of support. And as you can see on number 1 right here, support turns resistance again. And if you look through here, we have 2 more touches before the market continues to fall. So resistance is the ceiling, support is the floor in significant areas in the market where if you look left, you look in the past, the market has rejected that area. It's important to know, okay? So we now have support and resistance zones, which I was just kind of talking about in this last section. So a support zone level is a level of zone where the price tends to find a general area. So it's not one specific price point, it's a general price point between a specific two numbers of price. Now, in this price zone, the market is tending to reverse in this price zone. So rather it break through it, it bounces off that support zone. So this is important to know. Now, we have a resistance zone, which is obviously just the opposite of a support zone. So the resistance zone level is the opposite. Like I was just saying, it is where price tends to find a level of resistance. Now, it's not one specific price, it's an area of price where it's finding a resistance. Now, I'm gonna show you examples right here. So, as you can see, this is a support zone. So the support, again, think of it as the floor. We have 1 right here. This is an area where the market rejected. Now it came back to 2, rejected that area again. Now it came back down and it kind of went past 2, as you can see here. So it didn't break this area, but it broke 2's level right here. It broke through, but it couldn't get past this area. Now it came back up, couldn't get through again, turned, if we look at number 5, again, this is an area of significance, a support area right here. Bounced off this level, came back down. Now we have 6, which is another area that it couldn't break through, but it's a zone. It's not a specific price that it didn't break through. It's this zone in here. And then 7, as you can see, just rejected that specific price area again before coming down here and finally breaking it. Now we have our resistance zone. Same thing, just opposite. 1, price is rejecting this area. If you look right here, price cannot break through this area. So this is an area of significance. Now, why this is important? So let's pretend that we are on area number 7 hasn't happened yet. Okay, so let's pretend that the market is right here. 7 hasn't happened yet. Now, if we look back, we have this resistance zone set up. Let's say one of our moves, our patterns happens at the specific level 7 is right here. Now, this is just giving us a good confluence that we may have a potential trade setup if our pattern is irrelevant in this area right here. And if it is, then this gives us another area of confluence, meaning another reason why we should potentially be in this trade. So that is important to know when you're marking up your area of resistance or your area of support. Now, if we go 8 and 9 again, market could not break through this zone right here and ended up just falling off the cliff. It's important to know, it's important to learn how to mark up these zones so that when we're taking specific trades that you can be confident in that trade knowing that we're in this zone. So it's important to know. Now, resistance turns support, like I was kind of explaining previously in this video. Resistance turns support in Forex is based on the fact that often a resistance level, the ceiling, which has been broken. So we have our ceiling, market breaks through, and then when it retraces back, it uses that ceiling base as a support now and bounces off that, okay? So that's important to know. And then, so right here, this is the perfect example. So we have this area of resistance, okay? So market's having a tough time breaking through this area here. Now we finally break through this area, and as you can see, when it retested the area of support. So this is our resistance area. We broke through the resistance area. Now it turned that resistance into an area of support and launched off there, came back down, retraced again to that area of support before just a major move right here. And where this is important is if we do get this type of move, so we got to be able to identify where the market's at. So when it does break this area of resistance, what we want in this specific thing to happen is for it to come back down and touch the area of support like it did here. And when it does that, if we have one of our patterns that's going on in the market happening right here, then we are confident in taking that trade. So that's very important. And I mean, that's how I base a ton of my trades off of. Resistance turns support, support turns resistance off specific key levels, with all the other confluences that are going on in the market. Okay, so now opposite of resistance turned support, we have support turned resistance. So support turned resistance in Forex is based on the fact that often a support level, which has been broken, so we have our support here, market breaks through, does its retracement, and then comes back up using that support now as a resistance. Now, when the price comes up to that resistance level, the support broken turns into a resistance, market rejects that resistance, and that's important if we have one of our patterns that we trade in that specific time frame. Now let's look at the screen here. As you can see, we have 3 touches right here on a very specific level of support. So we have 1, 2, 3 clear support. Now on 4, we're looking for that area, but the way price is moving, it's not giving us a very great indication that market's going to reverse here. Now, it breaks through this area right here, and what does it do? It turns this area of support into a resistance for a perfect sell right here. Now, when price breaks this resistance or breaks this support, it turned resistance literally 3 times right throughout here. And this is just where we can really capitalize on a bunch of trade setups. I mean, this is just money in our pockets with our specific patterns added to these type of confluences, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn on TradingView. I'm gonna go through exactly what I do when I first get on my charts, and the first thing that I do is mark up support and resistance. So right here, we're on TradingView. We are on the weekly time frame on GBP CAD, which is the British pound versus the Canadian dollar. Now again, we're on the weekly time frame, and how I figure that out is right up here. If you look, you see the W, and I explained this in the TradingView video, but I just want to go over it again for you guys. So if you can see here, you click this button, and this is where you go through to click and find the different time frames you want. Now, when I'm going through my charts, all these time frames you see on my chart right here are all the time frames that I use. Sometimes if you look through these different time frames, each time frame will tell a different story, and sometimes these stories will be more loud than the different stories that are on different time frames. Meaning, let's say the 4-hour is telling us not really a whole lot, but the 8-hour time frame is telling us we are on the 50 moving average and we're hitting divergence. Now, I'm looking at all these time frames for specific reasons like that. Now, I know you haven't learned about hidden divergence yet, but you will, and you're going to understand why I said that later on. But right now, I'm going to clear my chart. We are on GBP GBP CAD, okay? So what I'm gonna do here, if you can see this line right here, it says horizontal line. Now, if you can't find it on your trading view, go left here and you can see a diagonal line. Now you'll see a little arrow out. I'll click this and go down, you see horizontal line. This is what you need right here. So when I'm marking up my support and resistance, I start at the weekly, sometimes even the monthly time frame, but typically I'm starting at the weekly time frame. So right here, I can see that we have an area of resistance. We have a ceiling right here, an area of importance where the market is rejecting off of. Now, if you look here, you can see that the market rejected this area 2 times. Now, if you look right, you can see one touch. Now it broke through this touch. We have a little area of resistance up in here. If you look right here as well. So let me mark that up. That's another little important area. So we can consider this a resistance zone, right? So it didn't quite break too crazy above our resistance area right here. It came back down, retraced. Now we have the 200 moving average with a horizontal line, and market rejected this specific resistance level again. Now, how many times did it do that? So it's done that one. Okay, so we'll start off. We have support, 2 touches right here. Now support turned in resistance, 1 touch. Resistance zone, 2 touches, 3 touch, 4 touch, 5 touch, 6 touches. Now, this is a perfect example right here. We want to be looking for these things with confluence. So this right here, you're gonna be learning about this, but this purple line is called our 800 moving average. As you can see, our horizontal, our resistance line met up perfectly with our 800 moving average, which, as you're going on learning more about this, you're going to learn that this plays a huge role into whether a trade could be potentially really good or not. Okay, so this is how I mark up my support and resistance right here. I go through the weekly time frame on down to the 15-minute. I always mark up where we are in the market right now. Now, when I do that, I go down to see if we can find area of significance in the lower time frames that could potentially mean we have a trade set up. Okay, so we're on the weekly time frame. Now I'm going to go down to the daily time frame. As you can see here, you know, market rejected this level on the daily time frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So let's say we have a specific pattern that I will teach you later on in this course. Right now, we have the 50 moving average. You're going to learn about this later. But we have this area of clear significance. Now, when we have this area of clear significance, I want one of our patterns to happen so that it lines up with a potential move in the market. So when I'm trading, I want the trade to make sense. I want to have conviction in my trade that I should be in the trade for specific reasons. Now, if 3 or 4 things line up in this trade, we're on the daily time frame, and things line up, we have the patterns, I am happy because I have conviction in this trade, meaning I want to take this trade because we have this support or this resistance level right here now turned into a support level on the 50 moving average, okay? So again, I go from the weekly to the daily, marking off areas of significance that are significant to me in the present moment. So I'm going to mark off the next area we think this will go to if it breaks this next area of support. So if it breaks this area of support right here, I'm going to mark off where it will potentially go for the next area. And if you look in here, we have quite a bit of touches throughout this level right here. So when it goes to this area, maybe the 200 moving average will be right there with this specific trade. And maybe that will give us another area of confluence on why we should be in this potential trade. So I'm always looking for what the next potential thing could happen if what I don't want, or if what I want to happen doesn't work out. You have to be discretionary within, or as being a trader, because not everything's going to line up perfectly. And there isn't no such thing as a system that it's just step by step by step and you take the trade. Like, everything is discretionary within trading, and the best traders are discretionary traders. I personally believe they can see what's going on in the market on all different aspects and judge their decision based on that. So that's important. You have to learn how to really look over the market in different ways than you may be used to seeing, okay? So I'm gonna mark this area off. This is my next area of support. Now, I don't need to mark anything off in between here because we're on the daily time frame. And if it breaks this area right here, it's gonna take a while to get to this next area. So we're gonna go down to, after the daily, I always go to the 4-hour chart. And as you can see right in here, so we have this area of resistance. Now, we are forming what I call a shark fin. Now, if things line up in this trade, this might be a potential good trade. Now, if we have other specific things, they're telling us, hey, we should be in this trade, this would be a trade that I could potentially look at because we have this support level and it's resistance turns support. And if our pattern is going on when this happens, that's something that I'm looking for, okay? So I want to see that significant area with my pattern. So I have that marked off in my head. Let's mark this one off right here, because if it breaks that level, it's going to go to this next area of resistance, right? Well, this is support right here, but resistance right here that had a hard time getting broken. So now we don't have anything really significant that's gonna happen soon in the market. So I'm gonna go to the 1-hour time frame and see if there's any area of significance that's going on right here. Now, what I'm finding right here when I'm marking up, I see this area is pretty significant. So let's say that the market is reversing off this level and it ends up reversing right here and comes up to this level. So what I want to see in that instance is the 50 moving average to come around this area, which would be support in here, turned resistance. That's what I'm looking for. When I'm trading, I'm always looking for the next step if it doesn't do what I want it to do, okay? You always have to be looking for what it potentially could do, the next step, and this is what's gonna make you a really good trader. Okay, so what's it gonna do if it doesn't do what I want it to do? And this also helps you manage your position, okay? So we have that set up. Now we're on the hour time frame. We don't really have any more areas of significance right here. I'm gonna spread out my chart like this and just see what's going on. So it looks like if it breaks this level, that this next area right here, which is a resistance area, is gonna be our next area where we're looking for a potential reversal off of, okay? So right here, that's what I'm waiting for. If it breaks this level, that's what I am waiting for. So we're on the 1 hour. Now I'm gonna go to the 30-minute chart. And on the 30-minute chart, what I would mark off here is right here to see if it's an area of importance. Now, again, I don't want to get too crazy with it, but the market did reject off this level pretty harshly. So I'm just going to keep that in mind in case it does break that area right there. Now, we don't need to look too crazy far left and get too wild with it, but I do want to know what's going on in the past so that I can potentially see what could possibly happen in the future. Now we're going to go to the 15-minute chart, and maybe there's a specific move on the 15-minute chart I'm looking for. So I can't find anything. I'm not going to go too far left. We already went from the weekly on down to the 15-minute chart. Now what we want to wait for our specific move to happen off a potential level. Now that's how I'm marking up my chart when the market's happening how it is. Okay, so that's what I do every day, every chart that I'm looking for, the first thing, how I'm marking off my support and resistance. So let's go over another pair right here. Let's remove these drawings. We'll go to the weekly time frame again. Let me reset my chart. Now we are reset. Okay, so I'm gonna shrink this up a little bit just so you guys can see what we have going on here. Again, we're on the weekly time frame on NZD CAD. So I'm gonna mark off exactly what is happening right now in the market, where we are at, so in this way I can find out when I look through the time frames below this, like the daily and the 4-hour, if we're on any specific areas of importance right now. Okay, so this is important. This is what I do. So we have that. I'm gonna mark off the next closest area. So as you can see right here, price rejected this area a couple times. It rejected it as a support up in here, resistance right here. So this is a support. This is a resistance. That's kind of where market's at. Now what I want to be looking for is if it breaks this level, where's the next potential level that it's going to go to? Now the weekly time frame isn't telling me much. It's showing me, okay, so this is obviously a clear area of support in here. Price rejected this area multiple times. So since there's so much time in part of this, or apart from this, if it breaks this level, I don't have enough clear evidence of what it's going to do next based on this time frame. So I'm going to go to the daily time frame. And as you can see on the daily here, we have our 200 moving average, which you're going to learn about in the moving average video. But we also have an area of support or resistance in here, which will turn into support right here. Now that's what we're looking for. So when it breaks this area, if it breaks this level right here, this area of support, we're looking to see the next area that it's going to go to. Okay, so that's the daily time frame. And again, I'm not going to mark this up all the way down here. I'm not going to put a horizontal line down here because this has nothing to do with what's going on in the market right now. Okay, you want to make this as simple as possible. You want to be in the areas that it could potentially come to soon. Okay, so if the daily time frame's right here, it's going to take, remember, each one of these candles is a day long. So it's going to take a while to get to this next support area if it does that. So we don't have enough information to tell us what it's going to do next. So we'll go down to the 4-hour chart. Now, let's reset our chart so we can see it better. Now we're on an area of resistance or support right here. And as you can see, market's like kind of trying to reject this area. Now I'm going to zoom this out a little bit and see what happens if it breaks this area of support. So if it breaks this area of support, we know that it's going to most likely head to the next area of support, which will line up with our 800 moving average, which is this purple line right here. So when it breaks this, if it does, it might reject up here. That's what I'm looking for it to come down to this next level right here, which is obviously an area of importance because the market rejected right here. And I'm always looking for area of importance that happened pretty previously to what's going on in the market currently. Now that's what we have. We are marking up potential areas that are coming up soon in the market. So now we're going to go to the 1 hour time frame right here and see if we have potential areas of significance coming up in the market. And again, it looks like that area that we marked up on the 4 hour is our next area of support that's going to have importance. Okay, so keep that in mind. If it breaks this, most likely it's going to have some little bit of struggle breaking this level right in here. Okay, so that's what I do. Now look right here. This is an area, obviously, where price rejected, and I just want you guys to get comfortable with this. This is an area where price rejected. Obviously, price reversed off this level right here. Now, when it came back retraced, it had a hard time breaking above this level again. As you can see, market rejected right here. And let me zoom this in a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm talking about more. So this is an area of importance. Market came back up to this level right here and had a tough time breaking it, and it finally did. But what did it do? It turned this area into an area of support. So we have this resistance. It finally broke the resistance. It made its rally up, retraced back to that area of now support, resistance turned support, and rallied off that area. So what we want to be looking for is this move right here. And if I take my replay button, we can see that this is on the 200 moving average. We have a shark fin right down in here, which you're going to learn about later. And we can get a potential, we have potential to see that this market could reverse off this level based on the fact that the resistance has turned into support. And if one of our patterns is showing that I'm going to be teaching you, then this could be a potential move for a buy position, okay? Now, since we have the 1 hour marked off, I'm going to go to the 30-minute chart. Again, you can see this clear resistance. We rallied above that resistance level, and now that resistance turned into a support. So if anything, if you're grabbing anything out of this video, notice how I'm marking up my support and resistance line, but most of all, notice the resistance turned support and support turned resistance, because in these types of moves, you're going to find so many potential moves that I'm going to teach you how to trade properly. And it's just going to be so much easier to take these types of moves than to try to guess on different strategies with the basic technical analysis that most people teach, okay? So we have that. We're on the 30-minute chart. I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart now and see what happens. So this is very awesome to see. So we have that, we have that area of significance right here. We have this area of resistance. Now we have the 15-minute time frame. We have a divergence that you're going to see later on in this course play off perfectly off the 800 moving average. So this would have been a buy in our strategy. We have our 800 moving average, which is a powerful moving average. We have our resistance turn support right on this perfect level. Now we would take this trade as a buy, and we would buy it up to the 50 moving average, close out of that trade, and we'd be set. These are the types of moves that I'm looking for, but in compliance with how I trade, my strategy, and the patterns that are going on. So it's got to make a specific pattern, and it's just got to really make sense. I mean, this shit's really not that hard. People make it so much harder than it is because of the fact that they're trying to make money way too fast. They're trying to flip these accounts. They're getting into stupid trades that they really shouldn't be in for no reason at all, except for the fact that they look at the chart and have a feeling that it's going to go a specific way. Now, this is going to kill you in the long run. You have to have a specific set of rules, instructions. You got to be very organized with this if you want to succeed and make good money doing this. Now, I'm telling you, most traders don't have this skill set or wannabe traders, I guess I should say, people that have not quite made it to be a profitable trader. They don't have the skill set to be able to wait for specific trades. So for me, I'm waiting for the trade to come down to my specific area of significance, which is the 800 moving average, and I'm not touching it until it goes to that area. And once it goes to that area, I'm examining that area, looking at the different time frames to see if it's a smart trade. And if it is, I'm taking that trade, okay? Because of the significant areas and all the areas of confluence that happened within this trade. So that's how I trade that right here. So that's how I mark up my support and resistance. I look for just areas of importance that you can see that the market clearly rejected. And if we have one of our patterns in one of those areas, that's what I'm looking for, okay? So I'm going to go over one more just super quick. We'll go over USD JPY. I'm going to remove all drawings. We'll exit out of this here. We're going to go to the weekly time frame. Reset my chart here. Now, wow, what can we see here? We see that we're on a trend line, but you're going to learn about that in the next video. But let me mark off the chart where it is right now. That's where the market is. And what do we see here? We see an area of importance. Now, if this area has an area of importance and one of our trading setups, one of our three patterns, during this time, especially if it comes up to the 200 moving average, that's what we want to see. You'll see this come up to it once it touches the 200 moving average. You're going to see a massive rejection on that level. I 100% guarantee it. You'll see the market reject that 200 moving average. Okay, so now the thing is, if we come off a moving average like this, the 800 moving average, oftentimes we won't get a full reversal. We'll just get a rejection. So that's what I'm waiting for. I'm not waiting for a full reversal. I'm not waiting for the market to reverse off this level since we're coming off of a moving average. But I do have my area of resistance marked up. As you can see, price rejected this area. If you look left quite recently, now I'm going to go to the daily time frame to see if we have any special area of significance. Now, again, we're on the 800 moving average. You're going to learn about that later. We're on a resistance level. Now, if this makes a nice shark fin, a potential trade setup, and that's what I want to see. I'm now seeing what I want to be seeing. We have the 800 moving average, an area of resistance. Now I'm going to try to find a pattern that I trade. And if I have my pattern within that setup right here, I'll take the trade based on areas of significance with the other things that you'll learn about later on in the course. But it's just important to know how to mark up your support and resistance levels. So we're on the daily time frame, and I'm going to mark this area up right here because price rejected this area twice. This is kind of like a zone area, but what I did notice is after it rejected or it broke through this area of support, it came back and rejected it. It turned that support into an area of resistance. So this is obviously an important area in the market right here where the institutional and retail traders like you and I see as a important level in the market. So now we're going to go to the 4-hour time frame. We have a massive shark fin. Like I was saying, we'll probably see this hit the 200 moving average on the weekly time frame, but potential definite trade setup right in here. We want to see that. We want to see these areas of significance with our shark fin and whatnot. So that's the 4-hour. If I look left, I don't really see anything significant that I haven't already marked up. If I look left, I can't find anything in this area. It's kind of already in its own zone right here. So now that we're on the 4-hour, we'll go to the 1 hour to see if we can find anything. And it's not looking like there's anything that's specifically that we need to mark up, because we already have those areas on the higher time frames. When you look left, we don't have anything left to determine what's going on. Now, if I zoom the chart out like this, which I will do often, right in here, we still don't really have any specific areas of importance. We broke our resistance in here, so now we went to the next area of resistance as it did here, and it's having a tough time rejecting that area. So I'm going to reset my chart there. That's just the importance of this. Now, let's say I'm taking my trade based on the 1 hour. I'm also managing my trade based on the 1 hour. So I want to know where the next area of support and resistance on the 1 hour is. So since I can't find anything, I'm just going to look to see what my my moving averages are doing. And since when I look left, I can't find a good area, now I'm going to start using my moving averages to determine the next good potential area. We'll go to the 30-minute time frame, and we're going to just notice the same thing. You look left, there's really no area of importance in here. This isn't enough of a rejection to call an area of resistance, okay? 15-minute, you're going to notice the same thing. So that's how I mark up my support and resistance. Super simple. Now, what you need to do is you need to do exactly what I did. You need to mark up areas of support and resistance, label them why you took or put these as support and resistance, because they got so many touches or whatnot, or you saw that the market rejected this specific area so many different times. But that's how I do it. That's how I mark up my support and resistance, area of significance that's close to me in the current present. And that way I can determine an extra area of confluence if I want to take a trade. So I know you learned a lot in this video. You've probably a little bit, if you're new to Forex, a little bit like kind of mind blowing because there's so much information in this video. But just take your time to practice drawing the support and resistance levels on TradingView. Do it on multiple pairs, and I swear you're gonna get so much better at this. Like I said in these past videos, it feels like a different language at first, and it pretty much is. I mean, you're learning something that is very new to you, and you really have no idea what's going on. But as you grow with this, and as you grow with trading, you're gonna just eventually get to the point where you're looking at a chart and you can just literally place like a line there, no worries at all. So simple. It's just going to be so easy to see, but you got to stick with it. Now, if you have any questions, if you like this video, comment below, smash that like button, follow me on Instagram. We're getting into the fun stuff. I'm excited. This next video, we're going to do trend lines, which goes perfectly within support and resistance. And trend lines, support and resistance are very important in becoming a great trader. So take this video very seriously. Like I said, practice. If you are done with this video and you're not intrigued, then you're probably not gonna, I can't say you're not gonna make it, but the way that I felt when I first started trading, when I saw this stuff, I mean, and I saw the potential in what this industry can do for me, I went all in with it. Like, it's because I was at such a low point in my life when I first started trading, like, that I would have done anything to never feel that way again. And that's why I took this so seriously, because I was killing myself for $1,000 a week. And with this, I can literally place a button and make thousands of dollars in a minute, in minutes. So it's a beautiful thing. And if you take the time to learn it, It's going to be so worth it. Even if you don't come out of this making money, you learn something that has changed the way that your brain operates, which means, and what I mean, it's making your brain grow to a new level. It's opening up these neural pathways that have not been opened up before, and it's just making you grow as a person, in every aspect of your life. If you take this serious, it's going to start growing, because there's just so much to it and there's so much fun to this. But anyways, I'm done rambling. We're going to see you in this next video. You better be there, because it's trend lines, and trend lines is important. Plus, trend lines make you a ton of money. So we're going to see you in this next video. You guys have a good one.
Be pulling up. Remember they said I'm not good enough. I took all the energy, turned it to greatness. Now look at my life, man, it's looking amazing.